just keep reading. Let's keep reading. Hi guys, this is Connie, here with Connie Reads Cover to Cover Aesop's Fables. So, we already saw the introduction and various pictures therein, at least at the front, I think. We went past the table of contents. There are lots of fables in this book. So it starts with this. And I'm supposing that you can probably pause it if you want to, but we'll read a few of these until we get to about 10 minutes or so, I think, and then we'll move along for our next segment. Aesop's Fables, The Fox and the Grapes. A hungry fox saw some fine bunches of grapes hanging from a vine that was trained along a high trellis, and did his best to reach them by jumping as high as he could into the air. But it was all in vain, for they were just out of reach. So he gave up trying, and walked away with an air of dignity and unconcerned, remarking, I thought those grapes were ripe, but I see now that they are quite sour. The Goose That Laid the Golden Eggs. A man and his wife had the good fortune to possess a goose which laid a golden egg every day. Lucky though they were, they soon began to think they were not getting rich fast enough, and, imagining a bird must be made of gold inside, they decided to kill it in order to secure the whole store of precious metal at once. But when they cut it open, they found it was just like any other goose. Thus, they neither got rich all at once as they hoped, nor enjoyed any longer the daily addition to their wealth. With the moral saying, much wants more and loses all. The Cat and the Mice. There was once a house that was overrun with mice. A cat heard of this and said to herself, that's the place for me, and off she went and took up her quarters in the house, and caught the mice one by one and ate them. At last, the mice would stand it no longer. They determined to take their holes and stay there. That's awkward, said the cat to herself. The only thing to do is coax them out by a trick. So she considered a while, and then climbed up the wall, and let herself hang down by her hind legs from a peg, and pretended to be dead. By and by the mouse peeped out and saw the cat hanging there. Aha! It cried, you're very clever, madam, no doubt, but you may turn yourself into a bag of meal hanging there if you like. Yet you won't catch us coming anywhere near you. The moral of the story being, if you are wise, you won't be deceived by the innocent errors of those whom you have once found out to be dangerous. The Mischievous Dog. There was once a dog who used to snap at people and bite them without any provocation, and who was a great nuisance to everyone who came to his master's house. So his master fastened a bell around his neck to warn people of his presence. The dog was very proud of the bell, and strutted about, tinkling it with immense satisfaction. But an old dog came up to him and said, the fewer airs you give yourself, the better, my friend. You don't think, do you, that your bell was given to you as a reward of merit? On the contrary, it is a badge of disgrace. The moral of the story, notoriety is often mistaken for fame. Ooh. This might be fun just to do them in little segments. The Charcoal Burner and the Fuller. There once was a charcoal burner who lived and worked by himself. A fuller, however, happened to come and settle in the same neighborhood, and the charcoal burner, having made his acquaintance and finding he was an agreeable sort of fellow, asked him if he could come and share his house. We shall get to know one another better that way, he said, and beside, our household expenses will be diminished. The fuller thanked him, but replied, I could think of it, sir. Why, everything I take such pains to whiten would be blackened in no time by your charcoal. Didn't know what a fuller was. Guess I do now. The Mice in the Council. Once upon a time, all the mice met together in the council and discussed the best means of securing themselves against the attacks of a cat. After several suggestions had been debated, a mouse of some standing and experience got up and said, I think I have hit upon a plan which will ensure our safety in the future, provided you approve and carry it out. It is that we should fasten a bell around the neck of our enemy, the cat. which will by its tinkling warn us of her approach. This proposal was warmly applauded. It had been already decided to adopt it, when an old mouse got upon his feet and said, "I agree with you all that the plan before us is an admirable one. But may I ask who is going to bell the cat?" The Bat and the Weasels. A bat fell to the ground and was caught by a weasel, and was just going to be killed and eaten when it begged to be let go. The weasel said he couldn't do that, because he was an enemy of all birds on principle. "Oh, but," said the bat, "I'm not a bird at all. I'm a mouse." "So you are," said the weasel. "Now I come to look at you." And he let him go. Sometime after this, the bat was caught in just the same way by another weasel, and, as before, begged for its life. "No," said the weasel, I never let a mouse go by any chance." "But I'm not a mouse," said the bat. "I'm a bird." "Why, so you are," said the weasel, and he too let the bat go. The moral of the story: look and see which way the wind blows before you commit yourself. Not so sure I get that. The Dog and the Sow. A dog and a sow were arguing with each, claimed that its own young ones were finer than those of any other animal. "Well," said the sow at last, "mine can see at any rate, when they come into the world, but yours are born blind." It just sounds mean. Ugh. The Fox and the Crow, which we have a picture. You can pause it here to look at it. Ooh, ah, pictures. The Fox and the Crow. A crow was sitting on a branch of a tree with a piece of cheese in her beak, when a fox observed her and set his wits to work to discover some way of getting the cheese. Coming and standing under the tree, he looked up and said, "What a noble bird I see above me! Her beauty is without equal, the hue of her plumage exquisite. If only her voice is as sweet as her looks are fair, she ought without a doubt to be queen of the birds." The crow was hugely flattered by this, and just to show the fox that she could sing, she gave a loud caw. Down came the cheese, of course, and the fox, snatching it up, said, "You have a voice, madam, I see. What you want is wits." The Horse and the Groom. There was once a groom who used to spend long hours clipping and combing the horse of which he had charge, but who daily stole a portion of his allowance of oats and sold it for his own profit. The horse gradually got into worse and worse condition, and at last cried to the groom, "If you really want me to look sleek and well, you must comb me less and feed me more." And there's a picture of the moon and her mother, and it says, see page 14. So this is further down the line. Pause that one. Beautiful old pictures. The Wolf and the Lamb. A wolf came upon a lamb straying from the flock, and felt some compunction about taking the life of so helpless a creature without some plausible excuse. So he cast about for a grievance, and said at last, "Last year, sirrah, you grossly insulted me." "That is impossible, sir," bleated the lamb, "for I wasn't born then." "Well," retorted the wolf, "you feed in my pastures." "That cannot be," replied the lamb, "for I have never yet tasted grass." "You drink from my spring, then," continued the wolf. "Indeed, sir," said the poor lamb, "I have never yet drunk anything but my mother's milk." "Well, anyhow," said the wolf, "I'm not going without my dinner." And he sprang upon the lamb and devoured it without more ado. There's also another picture for the fir tree and the bramble, which is, see page 28. So there's another picture. The Peacock and the Crane. A peacock taunted a crane with the dullness of her plumage. "Look at my brilliant colors," said she. "See how much finer they are than your poor feathers." I'm not denying, replied the crane, that yours are far gayer than mine. But when it comes to flying, I can soar into the clouds, whereas you are confined to the earth like any dunghill cock. Ooh. Nothing like good old... There's nothing like good old-timey put-downs. There's more pictures. There's another illustration here. We'll finish this page and then we'll continue next time. We have 2 more small stories. Short stories. The Cat and the Birds, which is what that picture was for. A cat heard that the birds in an aviary were ailing, so he got himself up as a doctor, and taking with him a set of instruments proper to his profession, presented himself at the door and inquired after the health of the birds. We shall do very well, they replied, without letting him in, when we've seen the last of you. Moral of the story? A villain may disguise himself, but he will not deceive the wise. Last story for today. The Spendthrift and the Swallow. A spendthrift, who had wasted his fortune and had nothing left but the clothes in which he stood, saw a swallow one fine day in early spring. Thinking that summer had come, and that he could now do without his coat, he went and sold it for what it would fetch. A change, however, took place in the weather, and there came a sharp frost, which killed the unfortunate swallow. When the spendthrift saw its dead body, he cried, "Miserable bird, thanks to you, I am perishing of cold myself." Moral of the story is, one swallow does not make summer. And we will begin there again next time with The Old Woman and the Doctor. So thank you for tuning in to Cover. We will get through this book eventually. We've got plenty more to go. Be careful with that and enjoy, please and thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye.